Hello all, this is John Sortino, VP of Sales and Marketing for Logical Corporation. We're actually the developers of FusionBot.com, the advanced search option integrated in with 3D Cart storefront system. And today, as you guys saw in the announcement, we want to talk a little bit about what FusionBot can do for your website in order to increase conversions with intuitive navigation. And we'll talk a little bit more about what we mean by intuitive navigation and its impact on your site and its benefits that it will have. First, wanted to thank everybody for attending. I want to say thank you to 3D Cart for the opportunity to present to their customers, as well as thank those in attendance for taking busy time out of your day to plug into the webinar and listen to what we have to say. And to that end, don't hesitate with any questions through the interface. Glad to answer them as much as possible. If we don't have an answer for you, we'll definitely take it down and love to get back with you as well with whatever it might be. We'll jump right into it, go over the agenda, just kind of give a quick overview of what we're going to talk about before I actually talk about it. I'll take it from the top. In the agenda, why consider 3D Cart's advanced search powered by FusionBot? Then we'll go into integration options and examples. There's a host of different ways in which you can implement our search and navigation e-commerce search solution. We'll cover the main two, as well as just briefly glance over some of the other options as well. Talk about faceted search and navigation. Another word for that, it's a fancy word for filters or refinements, the ability to allow your customers and your visitors to navigate your site using the search solution effectively. Then we'll go into enhanced keyword search features and functionality, and that will be discussing some of the advanced features that an advanced FusionBot search solution is going to give you over your standard turnkey default search implementation for your 3D Cart storefront. Talk a little bit about SEO static links. Another word for that is user-generated SEO or user-generated search engine optimization. How you get that through a FusionBot implementation and how it can benefit, quite frankly, your bottom line. Lastly, search analytics, another fancy word for reporting. Just briefly touch upon the types of analytics we make available for you to analyze your search traffic, your search volume, understanding what your users are doing at your site from a search perspective in order to allow you to continually optimize both your site and your content through the automated search feedback form, automated feedback that the search form provides. And then last but not least, as mentioned, Q&A. We'll open it up, and if you guys have any questions or comments, need any sort of clarification, that's where we'll go ahead and tackle those as well. Right into first slide, why advanced search? For those of you who may not know, FusionBot has been a partner of 3D Cart. We are actually the original default advanced search option for 3D Cart. And we worked with them very closely from the get-go to set up a relationship that was very fruitful. And one of those things that allowed it to be fruitful was working closely with 3D Cart and their engineering staff to develop a custom feed of your site's content that we use to create your search and browse navigation, your e-commerce search solution around. And that custom feed even gives us greater ability that's unique for use and unique to FusionBot. Even greater functionality than what the 3D Cart advanced API provides. We're able to get additional content that's not available that any third party might be able to access content through the advanced API. We're able to get additional content beyond that that allows your search and browse and your advanced search and navigation solution to even set yourself apart from the rest. What can an advanced search solution do for you? Bottom line goal is it's going to enhance the perception of your site through the eyes of your customers. How do we do that? Through better conversion rates, increased site stickiness, in other words, increased page views, increased time spent on your site, increased user productivity and satisfaction is another goal, and last but not least, reduce load on call center. That's an important one to point out, is we actually had a FusionBot customer after going live with an advanced search implementation that called me and said, John, we are elated. I'm like, well, thank you very much. What specifically are you happy about other than the advanced search in general? He said, we were able to actually, after looking at things after a week of implementation, we were actually able to reduce our call center staff because the number of calls coming into the call center were significantly reduced, and we attributed directly to the search implementation because the users or visitors were able to find what they were looking for rather than giving up and calling into the call center to have them assist with that process. So those are some things you may not have considered in terms of what an advanced search solution can do for you. There are additional benefits as well. Last but not least, cost effective. FusionBot's faceted search solution, search and navigation, allows you to do what the big boys do at a fraction of the cost. And what do I mean by the big boys? Sites like Amazon, eBay, Land's End, all of them offer not just a standard keyword-based search solution, but a complete faceted search, the ability to browse and navigate using the search solution to dynamically get to what you're looking for in a moment's notice. Those types of search solutions generally cost tens of thousands of dollars, if not more, for implementation. With a FusionBot Advanced Search Implementation Partnership through 3dcart, you can do that all starting at $60 per month. So you're going to get all of that functionality at a fraction of the cost. One thing I wanted to point out as well with this webinar is going through the agenda and talking about the advanced search. But what we really want to do is what we say at FusionBot is the proof is in the pudding. So I really want this webinar to be very demonstration-centric rather than just talking to slides and bullet points. We feel the proof is in the pudding. And what that means is we want to show you FusionBot in action at the 3dcart customer sites who are using it so you can get a gauge for how FusionBot might be implemented on your site, how it might work, how it actually functions, and hopefully you'll get as excited about the potential implementation as we are about the solution we offer. Integration options. Mentioned earlier, there's two primary integration options where people say, hey, this is all great, but this isn't, you're not part of 3dcart directly, you're a partner. I don't understand how I go about implementing this search solution if you're a remote third party. Well, the two primary ways that we go about doing that is one, either transparent DNS. Next slide, we'll talk a little bit about the Ajax-based solution. But those aren't even the sole options that you have. You can go ahead and implement using HTTP calls, XML feeds. Bottom line for us is we can work with our customers to get an implementation with using whatever approach works best for their particular situation. Again, two primary ones, transparent DNS. What is transparent DNS? That's where your site is hosted on www.yourdomain.com, for example. Well, the search solution, because we're on our own servers remotely from your primary site, your primary storefront, has to be hosted on a subdomain using transparent DNS. So we'll take something like set up a subdomain. We'll work with 3dcart. We've done this a lot to set up a subdomain. Usually we call it search. It can be called whatever you want it to, so that the search results resolve on search.yourdomain.com. And so all we have to do is modify the search box that's on your site to now point to that URL, and it'll start functioning immediately. Now we're pointing to a subdomain URL from a third party such as FusionBot. Well, we obviously don't want the user to recognize the fact that your search solution, potentially, for example, is hosted at a separate location or is disparate from your main site itself. Well, we do that through the use of custom templating. And the custom templating is a unique interface in the FusionBot account when you use transparent DNS that allows you to take a snapshot of your current site, and we use that and we assist in this process at the initial setup to integrate in the FusionBot parameters into this template that you save within your FusionBot account that serves back the same look and feel as your primary site. Let's go ahead and see that in an example. So here's a 3dcart customer called Simply Solutions. We're now at their primary site, www.simplysolutionsinc.com. We come in here and we do a search, utility cart, whatever it might be, and now here are the search results served back. You as an end user are completely unaware essentially of the fact that FusionBot is now powering this search page and these search results page. If you go ahead and look in the address bar of your browser, you'll see we say search.simplysolutionsincorporated.com. That's actually a FusionBot server powering that advanced search functionality on Simply Solutions Incorporated's behalf. So again, it's seamless, it's transparent, it works quite well, and it gets you up and running quicker than probably just about any other solution. The results customization as well, another pro of that is the results customization is all maintained in a singular location. And that's important because you'll see when I mention some other solutions that's not necessarily the case. Also, if you have large inventory storefronts and speed is of the essence, we're talking millisecond differences here, but if speed is of the essence, the transparent DNS solution is going to work best. But there are cons. One of those that some people from an SEO perspective will say is, hey, my search is now hosted on a subdomain, so my traffic analysis, my analytics, I'm not getting full credit for that traffic on my primary www domain. Some of that traffic that is on my site is now being transported over to a subdomain. Some people don't like that. It's debatable whether that's an issue in terms of full credit and traffic and analytics, but it's a point to keep into consideration. And disjointed updates. While we maintain your template in your FusionBot account, if you have a change on your primary site, you also have to log into your FusionBot account. Again, we always assist with this process and update the same template on your FusionBot site as well. So you have disjointed updates that is one of the cons that you can take into consideration. Come back to another option, Ajax-based implementations. And this is more moving in the direction of the Web 2.0 style implementations. You guys might say, hey, John, I don't know what an Ajax solution is. And what all it comes down to is an Ajax-based solution allows you to implement search and keep it 100% on your domain. So you never leave www.yourdomain.com. We stay 100% on site. We're able to do that by once the page fully loads, a user conducts a search, hits the go button. Once that page fully loads, JavaScript libraries make calls behind the scenes to our servers. We serve back just the block of content that is the search results themselves, and the JavaScript writes it inline directly back into that same HTML page. Well, there's pros and cons of that as well. The pros is now you've maintained that results template 100% within your 3D card interface. So whenever you have updates to the look and feel of your site, it's a moot point. You just update it within your 3D card account, and you're good to go. That's one of the primary, and it's also, as mentioned earlier, it's also very Web 2.0-like. Because it's more what you just come to expect, where you maintain your presence on a particular page, and all we're swapping out is just the results content each time that page loads. So it's kind of nice, and it's kind of what users have come to expect in many search solutions. So let's see that in action. Here's a 3D card customer called KitchenNova.com, and if we come to their search box and conduct a search, let's search for something, say cutlery. We hit the go button. Now, if you look in the address bar, and I'll zoom in here, I don't know if it's going to do you a whole lot of good in terms of forms of the address bar, but if you look at the address bar, if you can see it, you'll see we say www.kitchennova.com. We're still 100% on site, and every time I conduct a search, nice, all we're doing is replacing inline the content that represents the FusionBot search result. That page never changes otherwise, and so it's seamless. It's Web 2.0, it's integrated, looks great, easier to maintain your search results look and feel template directly in your 3D card storefront, so that's great. But obviously there's a con as well, right? We always have pros and cons with different implementations. The main con with Ajax or JavaScript-based Ajax solutions is your search results content is not loaded until this page fully loads client-side in the browser. I'm talking a lot of technology here, but ultimately what that means is the page has to fully load. The content is essentially blank in the middle. The JavaScript makes a call to our servers and drops it in line. What that means is since client-side JavaScript only executes within a browser, if spiders show up at your site, web crawlers, the Googles and the Bings, they can't see the content. And if it's important for you to have your search results content indexed, an Ajax solution may not be the best implementation. Again, a pro and a con, something to consider. Bottom line is we can do it just about any way you can envision, and we've got a solution that's going to work for your environment and your preference for that matter. Faceted search and browse. This is the meat and potatoes of what an advanced search solution can do for you and how it can help differentiate yourself from a stock search implementation, from a standard search lookup against a database, and using real-time binary indexes that we create on your behalf. What is faceted search and browse? What can it do for you? Provide your customers the ability to find exactly what they are looking for via a combination of keyword searches and clickable filters that they define dynamically. And so what do we mean by that they define dynamically? Well, typically you might go to an e-commerce site and they have a host of static links that they've added to their site that they've anticipated users might want to visit in a particular sequence and order, and it's predefined and it's static and it doesn't change. And you've created these hierarchical structures and links that take them down that predefined path. What if we said, hey, why provide a predefined path that may not necessarily be what the user is looking for in the order that they're looking for? Can't we do the same thing but do it dynamically? That's what a FusionBot faceted search and browse solution can do for you, where your users are able to refine content based on product attributes. Let's see an example of that. Go to another 3D car customer, idealbaby.com. And we're at the site, and let's say you're aware of this website, and you and your family were at a friend's house, and they have a newborn baby. Newborn baby, you're staying late, and all of a sudden the newborn baby starts crying, crying terribly. And the mother gets up, or the father, and grabs a pacifier and gives it to the baby, and the baby goes right to sleep. And you're thinking, gosh, I have a baby at home too. That's fabulous. I saw it was an Advent pacifier. Must be something special about it. I don't know the name of the pacifier. How do I find it? Well, I go to Ideal Baby as an example. I say, gosh, I know it was an Advent pacifier, right? So I go ahead and click their brand navigation menu link, and I click Advent. That's the brand I was looking for. Now all of a sudden, I've browsed this site. I've yet to submit a keyword search. But what you see, this is another example of a transparent DNS implementation. What you see the URL now become is search.idealbaby.com. You are now on the FusionBot side of things, navigating and browsing the site to find what you're looking for. He's like, okay, I searched for the brand. It was Advent. Now here's some additional refinements that I can refine this list of products that match by. So these are all the Advent items that they make available. Well, I know it's a pacifier, so it's in the feeding and nursing category. Oh, okay, and you know what? It's a pacifier. It can't be that expensive. It's got to be under $10. And it was a nighttime pacifier. Well, I don't have anything left for nighttime. Let's add a keyword search to these filters and refinements that I've just done. Let's search for nighttime. I hit go, and there's all the available newborn baby Advent pacifiers for the nighttime that are available from Ideal Baby. Got to be, oh yes, that's the one, pacifier nighttime. Got to be what I was looking for. Add it to the cart. Now you've got a sale. And why I've 100% dynamically defined that entire path. It wasn't a predefined path that I made available that I had to anticipate my visitors wanting. I allowed them to create that path on their own through the search and refinement functionality. The combination, another way to put it, it's a combination of browsing sites and performing keyword searches to dynamically ultimately arrive at what it is that you're looking for as a visitor. What else can you do with those types of navigation links? You have the ability to integrate those links directly into your own navigational menus that you just saw. You can create promotional links that link ads back to on Google AdSense, for example, directly into a product result page. Or you can generate landing pages, for example. Here's an example. We click the landing page. We come on over. Let's clean up and close out some of these tabs. But we come on over, and here's a landing page, back to school, right on your home page. I go ahead and click that back to school link, and now I'm directly in a search result page, a search and refinement page that we're powering that's going to be related to the landing pages that you've created that you can link for structure directly into your search and browse solution, advanced search solution. That's pretty great as well. Yeah, sorry guys, we think it's pretty great. So, faceted search and browse. Hopefully that gives you guys a good understanding of how that functionality works and how it could benefit your site and how it could even potentially be work in conjunction with or in place of your existing navigational elements. Enhanced search features. Okay, we talked about the enhanced search e-commerce solution and filters and refinements and all that good kind of stuff. What else does FusionBot do for you in addition to that? The question becomes, does your search have IQ? How smart is your search? Is your search able to ascertain user intent regardless of their keywords? Another keyword search. In other words, search should understand and anticipate what your users are looking for. So how do we do that? Well, we help users find what they're looking for even when they don't construct optimal keyword searches by expanding the scope of potential results. And then how do we do that? When you look at your analytics, ultimately, for example, with the FusionBot implementation, you'll quickly realize that people aren't the most efficient at performing optimal search queries. They're just not. They're not necessarily librarians or linguists, and they don't formulate the queries that you might have anticipated that they would to find what it is on your site that you would hope that they were looking for or that they would find. So we have to ascertain user intent many times and assist in that process. How do we do that? Various features. One feature, for example, is spell check. We're going to integrate spell check functionality as part of your advanced search solution. I'm going to plus in on this so you guys can see better. Here's an example where I predefined a search for, this is TrueBeer 3D card website. And I pre-populated a search for Powell, P-A-U-W-E-L. I remember seeing this brand somewhere and I wanted to find it on this site. When I searched for it incorrectly. If I didn't have an advanced search solution or a smart search, it would say no results found. Excuse me. What we've done instead is we've detected, we said, wow, Powell was not found. Here's something similar. Here's results for P-A-U-W-E-L, and here's your results content. So we're going to help make sure that a user performs fruitful and productive queries regardless of how they, and many times, of how they type their keywords. And what's unique to FusionBot is these dictionaries that this spell check functionality is based on is unique to your site. So in other words, your user search isn't submitting and checking against a standard English language dictionary, for example. Rather, instead, we custom build the dictionary based on the actual keywords that are on your site to use for spell check. So therefore, if you use acronyms, industry-specific nomenclature and words, those aren't in the dictionary, but they're in your FusionBot Advanced Search Dictionary because we've indexed them on your site. So if you happen to misspell the same word over and over on your site, well, we're going to correct wrong words to correct words into wrong words potentially. It's not likely to happen, but it's an example of showing the power of your custom search dictionary that you're going to get with FusionBot. Did you mean functionality? That's tied in directly with FusionBot as well. And what did you mean functionality does is instead of auto-correcting a phrase, here I tried to search for utility card at the Simply Solutions website, but I spelled it utility wrong. Here's our message that says, there's one result actually that does match for an incorrectly spelled, but there's probably more that for the correctly spelled one. Did you mean utility cart? So we're going to suggest corrected terms based on our algorithms and detections and take you to those, provide you a link to those results as well. Now we have 290 hits instead of 1. We're not going to take you away from the one that does match because maybe that was what you intended to search for. We're ascertaining through a smart IQ search that you probably meant this instead. Synonyms. Synonym functionality is great. Here's an example at the Candy.com website where a user submitted a search for the keyword Twizzlers, but they spelled Twizzlers with 2 S's. Perhaps it's a British way to spell it, I'm not sure. But what they have here is they've set up synonyms so that if someone searches for Twizzlers using double S, rather than yielding no results and the user leaving saying, I can't believe they don't carry Twizzlers, let me go somewhere else, they're going to say, oh, wow, we picked up on the keyword Twizzlers. It's a synonym for Twizzlers. And here are your results and your matches for that particular candy. We'll talk a little bit more about synonyms when we get into the analytics section or analytics side of things. Because what you can do and what we'll talk about is when you analyze your search reports, you're going to be able to review them and find what reports yielded no results. And if they yielded no results, what we want to determine is why. Did they just search for something bunk? Did they misspell something? Did they use a phrase or a keyword that we didn't anticipate? And therefore, you can learn from that user behavior and modify your site accordingly by appending additional synonyms, custom synonyms in your FusionBot account, adjusting the keywords through your 3D cart storefront by appending them to your pages to make sure that in the future that same search will yield a productive result that it didn't prior. Autocomplete. Let's go back up here. Autocomplete. Autocomplete is a great functionality. Again, let's go here. Instead of searching for Twizzlers, let's search for, I want to search for some Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. And I'm sure Candy.com probably has Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Oh, look, as I start to type, we can immediately start to narrow the focus of matches to just the content that's actually in your index. So now your users become much more productive. You're going to reduce the chance of them misspelling something. You're going to reduce the chance of them typing something that doesn't match because you're going to suggest for them what is going to yield a fruitful result before they even hit the submit button. So we know instead of me completing my search, I just go down and select Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, hit go, and there are my Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. I have the card, I check out, and I have a happy customer. That's the autocomplete functionality. Word stemming is another smart search feature. Word stemming is an example of, people might search for, it uses the linguistics approach and analyzes the keywords searched and applies a proper stemming to them, a proper suffixes, removal, and things like that, so that if you search for printing paper, as an example, with word stemming on, you'll get hits for paper printed, printed paper, printing paper, printed papers, all of the different derivatives of the same search that if you have a hard line and fast search solution that doesn't have a lot of IQ built in, may not yield the results. So again, we want to expand the scope, this breadth of potential results. Still have them be relevant, but expand that potential scope to make sure the user finds what they're looking for and they don't end up leaving and going somewhere else. That's an example of what word stemming can do for you. Stop words. Stop words is also a nice feature. A lot of times people will end up, an optimal way to formulate a query is just the primary keywords. You don't want to include the thes and the ands and the ors or the buts. We also like a search solution that by default uses an and solution. You can set FusionBot up to be an and or an or solution. That means bring back results that have every word I've searched for or any of the words I searched for. Difference between an and an or solution. However, one thing you can do, again, if people formulate their queries using, common words, you can tell FusionBot to ignore those words. So paper for printing, well, for is kind of pointless, or for might not be on my particular page. So even though they search for the keyword for as part of their search terms, tell FusionBot to ignore it. We're only going to therefore conduct searches for paper and printing and make sure that, again, we yield fruitful or productive results. Stop words. And then finally, search preview, powered by FusionBot. And the reason I mentioned powered by FusionBot, another 3D cart customer using FusionBot Advanced Search. You guys are probably very familiar with the fact that 3D cart already offers what they call, deep down, it's called the Searchlight functionality or search preview of the libraries that power it. They already offer that functionality, but when you implement a FusionBot search solution, rather than powering the content you see for that search preview functionality through the 3D cart scripts, we have the ability to power it through your FusionBot Advanced Search solution. So what that means is when I start typing, again, if you look at these advanced search, these previews that are provided, you'll see that the products are the exact same products in the exact same order in the actual search results page itself. That's because we're powering that, and that's important because now all of those Search IQ parameters that we just talked about apply to your search preview as well. So if you're doing misspellings and things of that sort, we're going to pick up on that and still yield a productive preview that might not have happened otherwise. Let's go on to the next slide. And so that's the summary of a lot of, there's more to it than just that, but that's a summary of what a lot of the Search IQ functionality can do for you. Some additional enhanced search features that you're going to gain access to with an advanced search solution. These are some of the nice add-ons or whiz-bang type features that we think are pretty cool that we thought would be nice to present to you guys. First one is the search toolbar. Search toolbars are great. You're able to integrate search directly into your user's browser. So let's see that in action. And hopefully you guys can see this in your window. But I come to Discount Watch Store, for example, and I conducted a search. You can also have this happen on your main page as well. But this example, I've conducted a search. If you look at the top right-hand corner of the browser, you'll see click here to add Discount Watch Store to your list of search engines. Okay, I can go ahead and click that. If I come down here, and see this is what happens with live samples. I should be able to come down here. Now I've lost the cookie. Sorry for the trouble, guys. Normally what would happen there is I add that to my list of search providers. I come down here and you'll see an icon with Discount Watch Store selected as an option. I submit search, and it submits a search directly to the Discount Watch Store site without ever even having to visit the site. So I could be off anywhere on the web and say, hey, I want to search for a particular watch. I don't even have to go to the Discount Watch Store to perform that search. I can do it right from my browser toolbar. It's going to take me directly, for example, to the Discount Watch Store website. What does that do for you? Drives repeat business, returning customers, increases customer loyalty, all those good kind of things that we want to try to make happen and give you value for what you're paying for in the form of an advanced search implementation. Embeddable top clicks. Most clicked items in your search results. This is just something that, hey, you have popular items. This is an example of the FusionBot site. It's not necessarily an e-commerce site, but it shows an example of implementing a top clicks page. Now, this isn't top keywords. We're going to talk about that later in your SEO side of things. But this is top clicks. So what this would show for an e-commerce site, for example, are the most popular items that are clicked through on my search results page when a user submits a query. And so obviously this is probably the most popular type of items that are on your site. You can embed this report directly into your page on your site and provide it for access to your visitors. It's kind of like a cloud search, or it's really showing the trends of what is most popular on your site in an automated fashion through the search implementation. Merchandising. Highlight important items based on keyword search. What does that mean? I come to an example. Here's a books website, and I search for Disney pictures. And this search solution is an informational type website as well, but it gives you an idea that we cluster results into groups, into categories. And then in addition to that, you can see recommended page. You can tie specific keyword searched to a particular link in the results set and then highlight it above the rest. So you're having a product, a sale, a promotion. You can start to promote and highlight those particular items, or they're higher profit margin products, popular products, whatever it might be, seasonal products. You can pull those above the fold and highlight them out and separate them distinctly from the rest of your content. SEO static links. Another word for SEO static links, automated user-generated SEO. SEO, for those who may not know, and I'm sure you all are aware of it, search engine optimization. What is it from a FusionBot perspective, an advanced search perspective? It's FusionBot's user-generated SEO feature puts your visitors to work for you. And so what do I mean by that? Well, let's look at this second bullet point, and it talks about, it has a progression here, if you will, of different steps. So the first progression is you implement site search. So you have the e-commerce search powered by us on your site. By virtue of that, we're able to cultivate a list of most popular terms searched on your site automatically. And so we'll leave this zoomed in, but we're able to cultivate this list automatically. And this list gets automatically updated on a basis that you specify in your FusionBot account. It can be daily, it can be weekly, it can be monthly. It depends on the type of search volume you have on your site. And so you set that parameter. This one's probably updated daily. And these are the most popular keywords just in general or by letter that are searched for on this particular site. Okay, that's great. That's a popular, automated, dynamically updated web page that you embed a link to on your own site that users can follow. But it's important. Not only can users follow it, so can spiders. What do those links look like? They're static links in static in nature in their appearance. What do I mean by that? Let's go ahead and click. Let's go back to the top 50. Let's go ahead and click, I don't know, knots. Single keyword looks best in terms of formation. If we go ahead and look at this address bar. Now, we've just conducted a query against your advanced search implementation. But if I look at this address bar, it is completely 100% static in its appearance. In other words, you guys are probably aware what dynamic links look like. They got question marks, they've got ampersands, they've got equal signs. All those things that define a page as being dynamic and not static and make it less likely to be indexed by the spiders that are showing up at your site. We want to make these links as indexable as possible. That's the whole point of providing this popular search term link. So we've got this page. They're static in nature. Spiders are likely going to index them. So now what? Okay, they're indexed by the major web engines, Google and Bing, for example. Now someone goes to the web at large and conducts a search. Here's an example. Now, I should point out that these searches tend to work better for searches that are very specific in nature rather than generic, but they're beneficial nonetheless. Here's an example product offered at the Simply Solutions website once again. If I scroll down, well, we didn't get hit number 1 for this particular item, but if I scroll down, on the first page, above the fold, is a link to the Simply Solutions website to their SEO user-generated static in appearance page that we've generated. The beauty of it all is through virtually no effort on your own and at no additional cost, you just drove a potentially new customer into your site, they add the item to the cart, and now you've got a sale. Again, through virtually no effort on your side, just taking advantage of the FusionBot user-generated SEO functionality. What does that do to sum that up on the SEO static links? Brings your site full circle, assisting visitors on your site with quality search and navigation, while at the same time helping to increase traffic to your site. It's the best of both worlds. In other words, usually when you think of a search implementation, all you're thinking about is increasing the functionality of your site itself. You never really think, oh wow, the impact that it could have on driving traffic to your site. So we're able to creatively utilize that traffic that happens on your search solution, again, to find out what's popular, make it indexable, and hopefully drive people back to your site for those same types of keywords that are already popular on your site in order to make a sale. Search analytics. FusionBot offers a robust set of real-time graphical search reports. And I mentioned earlier, well, those graphical search reports are able to help you really understand what is going on your site from a search perspective. That search box is serving as an invaluable form of automated feedback. And that automated feedback is telling you what they're searching for, what's most popular in terms of what they're searching for, what they can find, what they can't find. And that's where I mentioned the search hits reports. They can't find something, you can see what it is they searched for, and then set up additional synonyms, additional meta keywords, meta tags, additional body content that displays for a particular item to make sure that it doesn't happen again in the form of a search that yielded no results. You get daily search activity reports by hour, how much volume of search happens by hour, so you can see when the most popular days most popular times on your site the search solution is used probably coincides with the most popular times your site is visited. Most popular search terms, we just talked about that, user-generated SEO pages. User behavior reports. These are important. These are great because they give you detailed, specific information on a per IP basis for a unique visitor of what they searched for, what they clicked, what results appeared on their pages, which of those results they therefore clicked and through. And so we use that same type of information to say, okay, you had 10 results on this page for a particular keyword search. 7 out of 10 times the user clicked the third link in the result set instead of the first result. We like to think our algorithms are great. We like to think that they do the best job every time. No algorithm is perfect. We're going to see that action that user has, a majority of users have clicked a different link other than what was first, and next time those same types of searches are performed, we're going to adjust its relevancy factoring accordingly to bring that particular page that was clicked more frequently up to the top. Click-through reports, again, what people are clicking. Then in addition to all that, you get weekly email reports in your email that are a quick snapshot of the activity that's occurring on your site from a search perspective. You can always visit our website directly at FusionBot.com, reporting. It goes through all the detail. I've only touched the surface on the types of analytics and reports that we make available. But on that site, on our site, you'll be able to go visit and get an idea of even more detail that we make available. And so that's the analytics. That really brings everything around full circle from the implementation back around to the analytics side. And that pretty much sums it up in terms of a FusionBot advanced search implementation and what it can do for you. Hopefully it was informative for you guys, hopefully not too technical. And if you have any comments, questions, or need any clarification, I'd be glad to open it up to answer those as best I can.
Well, it doesn't look like we have any questions just yet. Oh, wait, here we go. Most common question. Pricing. I think you touched base on that earlier in one of your slides.
I'm sorry. Yeah, pricing is based on the active number of SKUs that are in your storefront. So in other words, obviously, if you don't have the active ones, that might be in your database, but not actively on your site. It's based exclusively on active SKUs, starting at $60 per month for up to 1,500 active SKUs, and it scales from there. You'll see if you look to sign up through the 3D card interface, some stock pricing as well at different levels. If you feel like you fall somewhere in between some of those stock pricing levels, let us know. We're more than happy. We're not stringent. We like to work with our customers through 3D card to come up with a custom solution if one doesn't fit the fold from a stock perspective that's going to meet your needs from a volume and pricing perspective. So we're more than happy to discuss those options with you guys to figure out a solution. I see a question that had been asked that's similar to that is, do we charge a usage fee? No, we do not. Volume of query activity does not generally factor into your monthly cost unless it is excessive. And I believe, and I have to look at our terms, it's beyond 100,000 queries a month. So as long as you're under that 100,000 queries per month, you have no other additional costs other than the default charge that 3D Cart implements for the implementation.
Perfect. I see one question here. Oh, getting some feedback noise here. Bear with me a second. There we go. I see one question. Do we order this from FusionBot or 3D Cart? Where do we find it in the 3D Cart admin? It's actually quite easy. If you go to the main 3D Cart webpage, 3dcart.com, over at the top, there's going to be a series of menus. You click on Resources and App Store, and it'll be one of the quote-unquote apps that we have in our App Store. Just look for the Advanced Search tab, and you'll see it there. It's the first listing on there.
And feel free, we have a great relationship with 3D Cart. As I mentioned, we've been doing this with them for over 3+ years, and we're the original provider of an e-commerce search solution. And we work very closely with one another, where if you have any questions that 3D Cart can't answer, we're the experts on this side of on this piece of the puzzle in the form of advanced search. We're more than happy. Feel free to contact us, and we'll answer any questions you have, clarify anything you have from an implementation perspective. And get those concerns addressed before you go ahead and click the subscribe button at the 3D Cart interface. I saw another question come in that said, what about excluding, we talked about stats and analytics, and so what about excluding my own IPs when you guys generate your reports? And absolutely you can. You can generate two forms of reports: reports that exclude specific IPs by default, and reports that include only specific IPs by default. And so obviously you tend to use the search implementation yourself, that you don't want to have it skew your SEO links, so you don't want to have it skew some of the other reports. And you can choose to automatically omit those ranges by full classes, by specific IPs, so that we don't include them and tally them up as part of your reporting or part of your analytics. I see another question that says, confused with does searches go to your site or ours? And perhaps maybe that was a late jump in, but there's a whole host of different ways you can implement the service. Ultimately, no matter what, any advanced search solution, for example, is going to be powered behind the scenes by a third party. Now, how we make that transparent or seamless depends on the implementation approach you use. Generally, we either implement through a subdomain, search.yourdomain.com, or we implement through an AJAX implementation so that it stays always on www.yourdomain.com, and those JavaScript libraries using AJAX will make the calls and drop that content in line right back into your page. So in either case, it's seamless and transparent to the end user. Appears to remain on domain regardless. It just depends on whether it's a subdomain or on the same page, on the same www host as well. Upfront costs for implementation. In most cases, there are no additional costs other than the primary monthly subscription fee. If you have unique requirements, we are more than happy to work with you to custom implement a solution if we don't have something turnkey. We've been doing this a long time, probably longer than just about anybody else in the industry, since 1998. So we've been doing this a long time, and despite the fact that we like to think we've thought of it all, we know we haven't. And in that case, we are more than happy to work with you to customize an implementation that might not even be part of our current feature set. Now, if it's a customization that's unique to your needs, there may be an upfront cost for that. If it's not, it's a customization that benefits the FusionBot Advanced Search customer base at large, we generally implement it pro bono because we appreciate the suggestion, and we're going to make it available to you guys as a result. That's the beauty of an e-commerce, a third-party software as a service solution such as what we are. It's not an installed solution. It doesn't really apply to you guys directly, but just to point it out, because it's software as a service, we're constantly rolling out updates and enhancements. It doesn't require an implementation that you drop on a CD and you roll it out every 3 years or every 2 years, and you got to wait that long for new enhancements and features. We're always continually trying to keep the FusionBot e-commerce search solution on the bleeding edge of search, and as a result of that, we're continually rolling out updates on a very frequent basis. Any upfront cost? Do you mainly work with 3D Cart, or do you work with many other e-commerce platforms? 3D Cart is one of our premier partners. We are proud of that relationship and value that relationship. But ultimately what it comes down to is if you can create a feed, and usually we work with you for that, if you can create a feed, it might not be as optimal as the feed you're going to get from 3D Cart in terms of its features and functionality, because that's, like as I mentioned earlier, a highly customized feed that we're taking advantage of. But if you can generate a feed via text file, a CSV file, an XML file, a JSON file, whatever it might be, if you can output a feed, we can accept that feed, parse it, and create an advanced search solution around it. And those feeds are critical because the feed is what gives us the ability to create all these refinements and all these filters and sorting results based on particular product attributes, limiting results based on particular product attributes, be it categories, brand, price, that you can't get without a feed. Because if you just try to send a spider to a page, it's all nothing but text. And so we have to have that information received has to have meta type information so we understand where it's coming from and what it means in order to offer the advanced search solution.
Cool.
I don't know, did I miss any other questions, guys?
Looks like we just got a new one. You mentioned a feed. Does this mean that the feed needs to be submitted each time when changes are made to the site?
Good question. Really good question. The feed is the feed through 3D Cart, for example, is automatically updated. It's through 3D Cart, and so every time you make a request to the feed, that feed is representative of the actual current content on your site, current pricing, current inventory, and what have you. Now, what we do is you have the ability to do two things. When we build your index, it's based off the feed and what that feed looked like at the time that we pulled it. You have the ability to do two things. The FusionBot account allows you to set the automated update frequency that feed is pulled so that we make sure that we stay in sync with your content in an automated fashion. But in addition to that, you have the ability to log into the account and request an immediate update that is going to have us immediately pull the feed, parse it, create an index around it, and then update your search. And so that information can be your product information is updated exclusively through the feed, and, of which the frequency is based on an automated fashion or a manual login for that request.
Cool. Cool. Looks like we got all the questions. And one question that usually gets asked, I'm surprised it wasn't asked yet on this one, probably because John did such a great job. But one question that's always asked is, will the webinar be recorded? Will it be posted somewhere? Yes, to answer that, we will have it posted on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/3dcart. And we'll have it there hopefully very soon, so you can review anything that may have been gone over. John, do you have anything else to add?
I hopefully I've covered everything. Nothing else to add other than, once again, thank you guys for taking your time out of your day to have a listen, and we'd love the opportunity to work with you guys for advanced search through 3D Cart in the near future.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for the presentation. I found it very impressive, actually. Hopefully we'll have that video up soon so people can review it.